Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the World Aviation Festival virtual event for the first time ever. Today I will be speaking about how Singapore Airlines managed to transform a very challenged retail business. As with many airlines, the onboard business has been challenged over the last years into a thriving e-commerce solution. Very briefly about AOE. We are AOE, a company that has put its major mission at shaping the future of airline e-commerce. And we've been around for quite a while now. We started as an e-commerce company a while ago and have then transitioned into a solution provider for digitalizing ancillary revenues. And at this moment, we are the world's leading travel retail digitalization expert. We have about 300 people in 6 different locations. And last year, before COVID hit, we were serving 225 million passengers with our solutions, generating almost $500 million in ancillary revenues across our different airport and airline customers. And today I will focus mainly on what we see as the future for airline commerce going forward. I think it has become very clear to everyone in the aviation industry that nothing will go back to normal in the near future. The aviation industry has been hit like no other one, and the new norms are changing very, very quickly. And this has a major impact on the very important ancillary revenues and how they can be generated. And of course, as we are moving into a more and more touchless world, generating these revenues in a touchless manner has become extremely vital to do so. What happened, especially in travel retail and onboard retail, has actually only been accelerated through COVID. The major developments that happened over the last couple of years were that customer behavior and passenger behavior had already changed from a majority of being impulse purchasing to a majority of purchases being much more planned than just on impulse. And what has hindered a growth in retail on board has been all of the different ways that experience had been siloed in the past and had led to inconsistent customer experiences. Just to give you an example, and of course before COVID I traveled a lot, whenever I tried to purchase things on board an aircraft or pre-order it on board for delivery on board or for home delivery, I ran into similar situations: disconnected customer experience, products not being available, products not being able to be delivered to the destination that I wanted, products not being carried on board, or for example, in many cases also products forgotten to be handed to me on board. And of course, a lot of that is due to the siloed thinking that existed in the airline industry up until now, where the flight attendants are independent from the retailer, from the marketing department, from whoever brings the products on board, etc. And there was no consistent IT infrastructure that facilitated a seamless experience for the passenger. And so it was no question that the former thriving onboard sales would eventually decline, and so have many airlines decided that they would discontinue that channel. But of course, I'm not only going to be talking about retail, but also about other ancillary revenue streams that tie nicely into that flow, as well as food and beverage, which we consider a major driver going forward, because a lot of cost savings can be generated from by reducing waste, by creating a higher pre-order and pre-select, and also upselling different debundled packages. What the observations that we made over the last years and also coming into COVID was that they're very different expectations happening now from a passenger point of view, both on in-flight and retail, both on omni-channel and what delivery people are getting accustomed to, and also, of course, the expectation that passengers expect personalized service much more now than they ever did before. And what that means is that, the expectations of in-flight shopping are very much omni-channel. Customers do not understand why they would require to download an app, why they're not able to order the same items from the IFE that they can order from their same device, why there's a disconnect between a pre-order platform and an onboard platform, why products don't match, why. These are things that are simply not going to be accepted anymore and have been a major driver in the decline of travel retail on board. Of course, another aspect very strongly is that to integrate that experience with the on-the-ground experience, with the while I'm at home, I'm actually planning my trip, I'm planning my shopping, I'm planning what I'm interested in, I'm planning what I want to eat on board. These are all things that have to tie seamlessly into the picture. And another expectation that is growing sales significantly, especially also for Singapore Airlines and Chris Shop, is that customers want to relate to the airline and want to relate to being told real stories, being told, having the possibility to connect with events, sense of place, and so on. And some of examples of that are, for example, that every time there's the Grand Prix in Singapore, we have a huge collection of fan memorabilia that sells really well on the store. We have shop-in-shop concepts for products that are built by disabled people in Singapore. We have shop-in-shop concepts for products that are exclusively made in Singapore. These are just a few examples of what we mean when we say we can't get away with selling the same boring, continuous commodity products across every single airline and airport shop in the world. Customers expect something better from their airline that they feel a loyalty about. Of course, another expectation is that the very limited SKUs that are available, let's say 80 products on a cart selling business, no longer fulfill the needs of 95% of the passengers actually flying. And so extending the product offering is only possible if you combine it with an omni-channel delivery and fulfillment, as well as the possibility to pre-order, especially premium items. Many of the premium brands are not willing to participate in in-flight retailing unless they can be guaranteed a premium experience with a personalized delivery and fulfillment as well. Of course, digital in-flight sales, mixed payments, bring your own device, all of these channels to be in a continuous customer experience and unbroken is only possible if you choose a technology that has all of the different channels integrated. And so far, we've been the only company in the world that has achieved that for multiple customers so far. And what has changed on the acquisition and on the shopping side has also changed significantly on the expectation side. We're all used to things like Amazon Prime, next day delivery or 2-day delivery, being able to get products we care about and we want in a very convenient fashion. And the convenient fashion means that me as a customer, as a passenger, I want to be able to choose where, how, and when I get my products delivered. When I get reached as a customer through omni-channel communication channels, and an airline is predestined through all of the different options they have for communicating to their passengers, whether it's through the check-in email, through the booking process, through the check-in reminder, through the app, through the possibilities that the airline has. To use those methods more efficiently. Additionally, acquisition of customers is, of course, a very major driver that has been completely ignored so far by the travel retail businesses in the current setup. And that means partnering with classic traffic acquisition channels, with the ability to do Facebook marketing, social media marketing, integration with major acquirers, with OTAs, with booking funnels, and so on, in order to drive more targeted traffic to your customer experience platforms. Even things like precise geo-targeting are possible nowadays, where if a customer walks past a certain store at an airport, we can capture that information. If they have entered, for example, a Mont Blanc store, then we know there's a certain interest, that is information that can be resurfaced through Facebook geo-targeted ads, for example, that then drive to a shopping experience specifically for that brand. So the possibilities there are quite numerous, and almost none of them are currently being utilized by travel retail. Along with these expectations also come a renewed expectation of, I want to be in charge of my delivery channel. If it's more convenient for me to get it delivered to the lounge, to the destination, to the seat, to my home, to my hotel, these are all options that should be available for a customer. And of course, it requires investment in fulfillment partnerships. But airlines are already major fulfillment and delivery operators, essentially. And it ties very nicely with the core cargo business of every airline if you set it up in a lean fashion that works efficiently. And lastly, what cannot be emphasized enough is the need for more personalized experiences. Passengers feel that air traffic is a commodity. They can choose the carrier based on a lot of different factors. And if you, as an air carrier, want to create a loyalty for your passengers, the feeling of always wanting to fly with you, you can only achieve that by by an investment in personalization, in better customer experience, and a better combined service offering. If you do that, you are able to create very diverse revenue channels because you know more about your passengers than most retailers do. You are able to predict their behavior in way better ways than other retailers can do, maybe with the exception of an Amazon. And that makes it possible to sell to them much more than the ticket. And I think it is very clear that for the recovery of aviation to work over the next couple of years, ancillary revenues will play a very, very important part in that, because airlines will have a very hard time to make a profit on actually transporting passengers for the next 24 months. And part of that is the necessity to actually, for most airlines, for the first time, build a single customer view. No longer have siloed content in the CRM, in the loyalty database, with third parties, with OTAs and so on, but actually start consolidating that information. And that tends to be part of every project that we do together with our airline customers. And only once you integrate all of these different touch points with each other and are able to make sure that you offer the right kind of product at the right kind of time to the right kind of passenger through a seamless customer journey, this is when conversion rates will suddenly change from the current 1% to 5, 6, or 7% conversion rates that we're seeing when we're doing this kind of integrated and personalized approach. And of course, that can mean turning a loss-making business that maybe generates 5 to 10 million in revenue into a business that generates 100 million in revenue with a very good bottom line. And part of that is that seamless experience needs to span across all of the ancillary revenue streams. This means from booking to check-in to in-flight, it needs to be possible to highlight the right products at the right time. And the propensity to spend differs quite a lot between the different steps in the journey. Whereas, for example, during the booking process, the propensity to pre-order or pre-select or upsell food and beverages and pre-order retail or book insurance or upgrade your seat is quite high. Once you are at the check-in level, different things become more relevant, such as selecting your meals or ordering retail. And in flight, again, you have now already chosen what you want to eat. You might still purchase products from the IFE or from your device for home delivery or for delivery on your return flight. However, experiences and destination services is really what is one of the key drivers here. So making sure that that is all consistent. As an airline, you can no longer work with 15 different partners and build massive integration projects to do that. You need to approach it through a single-sourced approach. Lastly, I want to say, and this is a question that came many times from people also outside of the airline industry, why should airlines actually be selling products to customers? Why shouldn't airlines just focus on flying passengers. And of course, us in the aviation industry know how important ancillary revenues are to subsidize falling ticket margins and falling ticket prices. But the essence really that many airlines have not fully grasped is that airlines have the potential to be fantastic lifestyle brands that people relate to, and people relate to by doing that consistently. And here's a beautiful example of how Singapore Airlines staff during the biggest COVID lockdown period actually was reassigned to help in hospitals. And these are initiatives that create real brand value and create a feeling that is a brand that me as a customer feels good about. But of course, there are also other aspects driving that, and that is that 40% of travel retail is still around gifting. And so focusing on personalized gifting, relevant gifting, and also uniqueness is something that is really a great opportunity for this channel. Similar to the ability to personalize shopping very precisely, much more precisely than an airport retailer could or any kind of downtown retailer could. This level of personalization is almost unique to the airline industry. And lastly, of course, the industry has always been very focused about trying to create uniqueness with travel exclusive products that are only available on that channel and so on in order to drive additional spend in those categories. And we need to move away very strongly from this 50% off mentality. Let's try to make it look like a bargain. Let's sell only through price. Of course, the feeling of wanting to get a good deal is still important, but a lot of that value proposition has been washed away by over discounting. And so rather than discounting and selling products at a very low margin, the focus should be much more around value, around delivering memorable experiences. And when you think about all of that, is it really surprising that so many brands have now dropped out of travel retail because they simply don't want to be sold like this anymore? They don't want that experience for their customers, and they'd rather quit on those sales that are still being generated like that and ensure that the customer experience is better through other channels. And we are seeing exactly the opposite effect when we show brands how we are approaching e-commerce, how we create brand experiences and uniqueness in that channel. Suddenly, a lot of the premium brands that have already been disenfranchised with the channel come back and say, this is fantastic, this is what we want to do, this is the future. And so that offers very new opportunities for travel retail. Thank you very much. I wish I could see you all, and I wish we could now chat together, but COVID is forbidding us from having a personalized conference. But hopefully you managed to get some interesting insights, and I'm very happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. You have the QR code below, and very happy to speak with you over the next couple of days. Thank you very much.